Before I start the video, I'd like to talk about two films that I actually didn't bring up in the video. And the first one is Kagemusha by Akira Kurosawa, which was a breathtaking film that came out in 1980, one of his final films, and it certainly is a precursor to Ran. And it was a fantastic film, really well acted, beautifully shot, and it just shows what he could do with the, even late in his career. It looks absolutely magnificent, as you can see in this clip here. It's visually breathtaking. It's quite slow compared to Ran. It differs strongly to it. In terms of the action sequences, it's not majorly action packed. It's a very slow, brooding kind of film, but it's excellent, and I highly recommend watching Kagemusha, one of Kurosawa's finest. Then the other is The Life of Oharu by Kenji Mizoguchi, and it was a devastating film about the life of a woman through her mistreatment. It was during the Edo period, which was 16th to 18th century, I believe, and it basically looked at the oppression of women and just the hardship this character went through. It was a very bleak film, but a very, it's one of the Japanese classics, definitely, and yeah, very, very hard film to watch. I think it's so bleak that it's overwhelming at times. It's not a masterpiece in my eyes, but I can see why people would consider it so. It's definitely a classic, and very well acted, and a very devastating story, and that's all I can really say about that film. So let's continue with the video. Hello again everybody to another video in the Asian Film Marathon, and this video is looking at every other film that I watched that hasn't got a solo review or video, and there is quite a big pile. I've watched I think 23 films or something in the whole marathon altogether, and I've got a pile here and one that I downloaded that I'll talk about also, and I think I'll start with that one. And I'll just talk a little bit about each film. So really, the first one that I watched was Audition by Takashi Miike, the horror thriller film that came out in 1989, and it's a really good one. Yeah, by Takashi Miike, and all these are reviewed, by the way, on Letterboxd. So if you want to go check those out, I'll put links below. They're all on the lists. Most of them are reviewed so far. I still need to catch up and put more up. But Audition was a really good film from Takashi Miike. He also done Ichi the Killer and 13 Assassins, which is one of his more recent films, but it was very good also. But Audition was a good psychological kind of thriller, and I really enjoyed it, and it's up there with my favourites now. And then we've got this big pile. I'll look at the Chinese film and the Hong Kong film first. So you've got In the Mood for Love. I decided to give that a rewatch, and this is a very, very acclaimed film. It's held up very, very highly. I don't think it's a masterpiece, and I don't completely love it, but I did really enjoy it. It is a great film, and this is a good addition as well. It's got a lot of special features. But In the Mood for Love is a romance story, and it's the way Wong Kar-wai, famous director, also it's the way the story's told and the editing, because it's quite slow, and not very much is said between the characters, and they just kind of spend time with each other and try to enjoy each other's company, and there's a lot of silence with that as well, and I think that's why the film's considered one of the best romance films, because it breaks away from typical rom-coms and even typical Japanese romance films. And then we have a film by Zhang Yimou, House of Flying Daggers, which is another acclaimed film, and this is a fantastic addition, and I've had this for about 2 years, I think, 2.5 years, and only got around to watching it now. It came with art cards and everything, and I think it's a brilliant release, to be honest. House of Flying Daggers is a really enjoyable action film, martial arts film. There's lots of great fantasy kind of elements to it, and the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. Really good music, good locations, and very surreal kind of action sequences as well. I don't think it's fantastic, but it is a very enjoyable film. And then we've got some more of the DVDs we've got here. So I'll go through the first two here, and it's by Hirokazu Herida, and he's a fantastic filmmaker, by the way. You should definitely check him out if you get a chance. And the first one is Still Walking, which is a family family drama in modern day, and basically this family unites together because it's an anniversary of one of the members of the family who died, and they all come together every year and meet at the parents' house, and it's a bit like a film by Yasujiro Ozu, and it even says in the back here, In the League of Ozu, because it does show that influence. It's quite a slow film, the camera's quite low, and we just kind of watch the family talking to each other, and that's how you get to know them as people. And it's the way it does it. There isn't very many scenes, lots of it's like long takes, but I thought it was a really touching kind of family story, and I had a lot to say about family relationships. It's a great one by Herida again. That seems to be a good area that he works with family, with his other film like Father Like Son, and it really was a really beautiful kind of film. And another film by Herida, which is a little bit different, it focuses on the family, but it's a little more harrowing and somber and very sad. And Nobody Knows is inspired by a true story of a woman in Japan who had actually abandoned her children for many months. Although she provided money for them, she was not there. And we have this 12-year-old kid with his 2 younger sisters and younger brother. He basically had to take care of them for several months, and I think it was something close to a year. And it's all from the film's kind of from his perspective, and it's really sad because he's just a kid and he's having to act like an adult. And there's a lot of the times in the film when you're reminded he's just a kid and he wants to be a kid because he buys a new video game console, he wants to try and make friends, and he's trying to he's still trying to grow up, but he's not getting to grow up properly because he's having to be an adult. And it's just a very harrowing film, and it's amazing to think that actually happened. And this is probably Herida's best film, and it's not an easy watch, and it's very compelling, definitely a compelling film. Then we have another film by Masaki Kobayashi, who done The Human Condition, and Samurai Rebellion is another great one, and it's got the great Toshiro Mifune and Tatsuya Nakadai, who was also in The Human Condition. And this one is about this old aging swordsman who lives in quietly until his clan lord orders that his son marries the lord's mistress, who's recently displeased the ruler. And basically it starts to go into criticise the rules of the samurai and the rules that's been placed by the lords. And there's a really great sword scene in this as well. Not a masterpiece, but really enjoyable. I really like the tone and the cinematography again, and it shows how good a filmmaker Kobayashi is. He actually didn't make that many films. He only made a handful of films, and it's sad because they're so great. So Samurai Rebellion, we got the great Mifune again. This time he's quite old at this point. 1967 this film came out. Beautifully shot, well acted, and just a very good tone overall. Then we have another film by Yasujiro Ozu, and this one's called Floating Weeds, and this is one of his later films, coming out in 1959. This is shot in gorgeous colour again. I really loved the cinematography and the colours, and like many of his films, it's about family and sacrifices. And basically the plot is, when a travelling kabuki troupe brings their show to the seaside port, Komajiro, an aging actor, is reunited with his former lover, Saki bar owner Oyoshi, and his illegitimate son, Kayoshi, to the distress of his current mistress, Sumiko. And really it explores this character who says he's the uncle of this boy, but he's actually the father. And it kind of looks at... It does look at the family relationships between them. The fact that he's been absent from the kid's upbringing, who he's now a man. He's like, I think he's about 18, 20 at this point, and it looks at their relationship and kind of regrets as well. It's quite a sad one, but there's also bits of humour in there too. This is another wonderful little Ozu film, and I recommend watching that one. And again, it's great masters of cinema, all these two. And we've got 2 films by Kaneto Shindo, who directed Onibaba, and his films don't seem to be that popular outside these 3, but we've got Kira Nico. Kira Nico's another ghost story, and it goes very well together with Onibaba, because it's that kind of ghost story. Basically what happens is there's a woman and her daughter-in-law, because the son's away in a war, and they're in their little hut, and at the very start of the film we see a bunch of wild samurai, and they break into the house, rape them, then kill them and burn the house down. And what the film's all about is their spirits coming back to haunt all samurai, and that's when they get revenge, because they want to get revenge after what happened. And then it kind of looks at that, and then the son comes back to find that his mother and wife, the daughter-in-law of the mother, is now dead, which he finds out through the fact that there's now spirits in the spirit world. And I think this is a really good one. It's got some really great music, I think it's quite tense and atmospheric in terms of a horror kind of thriller film, and it would definitely be up there with my favourite horror films. It's a very good one. Kuronico, recommend, Masters of Cinema release again. And another Kinito Shindo film, which is not as popular as Onibaba or Kuronico, it is The Naked Island. I've seen loads of really good reviews for this, giving it like 5 stars, loads of acclaim for this one, and I could see why, but it wasn't for me. I don't think. I really did like the themes that it explored because it was looking at hardship, but I think it was just dragged out for a good bit. It is very much a silent film because there's barely any words spoken in it at all, and it's very symbolic. You've got this little family living on an island, and the main thing that you see them doing is getting water, and they're surrounded by all this water. Obviously they can't drink it, but most of their time is spent trying to get the water, and it was quite lots of great shots of the water going into the soil. You see the water evaporating into the soil, because that was very symbolic for their situation, because they're constantly having to go back for water, constantly struggling to survive. Every time they get water, it's gone before they know it. And I think that he done that a lot with the editing. But while I like that, it seemed to use that a little too much, I think, and the film does become kind of drawn out. It's only 96 minutes, but really it could have done more. It is a good film for what it is, but I don't think it deserves the acclaim it's got from some people. Regardless, it is a very good film. A very good film from Kinito Shindo that explores those themes, and I would recommend it if you're into Asian cinema. A good release, a decent release from Masters of Cinema. Yeah, so that is it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you discovered some new films, and I would love to hear what you think of the films if you've watched them. This is the pile here. Stay tuned for more videos because there's a lot coming up this week, and we did our discussion video on 7 Samurai, which turned out to be quite long. That'll be up later this week. And then we've also got our lists that we're going to do. I'll not tell you exactly what they are yet, and I'll also do a wrap video just kind of talking about the whole marathon. We'll do that, me and William, or William and I must use correct grammar. But I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I hope you enjoy the rest of them. So I'll see you next time, everybody, and thanks for watching.